Hello, good evening. Welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. To present our top stories in the news: council workers go on strike demanding unpaid salaries. ZEMA issues restriction orders on mining activities in the lower Zambezi. Government challenged to account for construction works at President Hakainde Hichilema's residence. In international news, Kenyan police involved in the killing of 12 people, according to Amnesty International. And in sports news, Manchester United forward to miss FA Cup final against Manchester City.
Salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ have come.
You lift one hand and I'll lift the other hand, because our man of God in a surrendered position is more dangerous than an entire army. In the name of the Lord Jesus, today God will remove every form of iniquity, every ounce of iniquity that has been around you. Then I said, behold, I have come to do your will, O God, to fulfill what is written of me. So that I can understand that when Mary is in that crowd, part of her is crying for them to choose Jesus over Barabbas. But she doesn't understand the mystery of redemption. That Jesus did not come to the world to die a normal death, because a normal death does not do anything for you and I. Your great and mighty power, the heavens declare. Your great and mighty power, you're greater than the greatest, you're mightier than the mightiest, you're stronger than the strongest, better than the best.
Hello once again, another news in detail. The Lusaka City Council employees have protested over non-payment of 2 months' salaries despite the local authority collecting levies on a daily basis. A Camnet television news crew that visited the local authority offices Wednesday morning found most of the employees camped outside the premises waiting to be addressed by the relevant officials. And those spoken to have expressed disappointment at the fact that they have gone 2 months without pay, and that they have not received any formal communication from management regarding delayed salaries. More in this report.
The gates have been closed and workers have downed tools. These are Lusaka City Council employees who have demanded that they will not work until they are paid their 2-month salary arrears owed to them by the local authority. Some of these spoken to have expressed disappointment at the fact that the local authority has on a daily basis been collecting levies from bus stations, market, public places, as well as public toilets, yet they are failing to pay them their salaries.
No any benefit in my life. So what I want is my money. But pass 2 months, not 1. Me, I want 2, not 1 month. No. I want to put in my children to go to complete education. Without education, no future, no good future.
My names. So please, to papa. But bamdala bakabwere pano ba HH baka feze pankana na chongo banigwira na muma ovalo feze funa kunimenya banimenya chifukwa chakuti nina njara nifuna na ndarama zanga nina ma rights
viti kuya vipopo but swati yanganira manyumba ni yabe naona ngatonsa tinamanga tinatenga maloni kuloni swati pelekera mati za survive bwanja katipasa 1 month wajua yonse kunyumba timaenda socha bebana bana njala kuma school bana anabapicha bafuna ndarama but weve balingezi cha offices wa president papa tatabana bantu yanganire mponi wa council tavutika.
Others have also complained that they have been told to vacate their houses by the landlords due to non-payment of rentals, further stating that the authority has also not been remitting their NAPSA contribution, hence calling on Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema to intervene.
2 months situfola vanipisha na munyumba na katundu kalipanja vana vangala wasiya na njala niseveza nichelela every day
members wisaka bomba kabye kamunda kuti wabombolina nsala honestly I think bakateka baroreke chepo mwandini. He should revisit one background, which what is happening underground, Council.
Meanwhile, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Gary Nkombo, when contacted, had this to say.
Quick solution around it was to ensure that government pays Lusaka City Council the backlog of the money that government owes in rates. Okay, and so that I presented to the Secretary of the Treasury, who is considering that now. We are hopeful that we'll get an answer by tomorrow, after which we will make sure that the Lusaka City Council goes up to date. But that doesn't end the problem, because I deliberately started by telling you that 6 months ago we approved a loan for them to get, which means even after they receive this money in lieu of rates, after 2 months they may fall into the same pitfall. So we've embarked on an agenda to allow Lusaka City Council to revise all the outdoor advertising contracts, where we think those are low-hanging fruits that will allow them to get steady income.
For now, markets, bus stops, public toilet, among other public facilities in Lusaka remain unattended to, as these workers have vowed not to return for work until their matter is resolved. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV.
A 23-year-old man of Lusaka's Kanyama compound is fearing for his life after he allegedly received threats from his former friend who is impersonating as a police officer. Pomolo says his former lover's man, only identified as Mr. Shezi, has threatened to kill him and his wife on allegations that he has an affair with the wife of the aggressor. The families of the two are appealing to the police to come to the couple's rescue. Here's a report.
Despite 23-year-old Pumulo having buried his past and now happily married to Namakao Chinga, it seems the past is haunting him. What's worse for this 23-year-old general worker is that his ex-lover's boyfriend now accuses him of not ending their relationship. In 2021, Pumulo of Lusaka's Mtandabantu compound in Kanyama constituency is said to have been in a relationship with a lady identified as Claire. However, the relationship did not last as the woman was impregnated by another man identified as Shezi. Now, Shezi, who is said to have impregnated Claire, is however not convinced that the relationship that Pumulo had with his girlfriend ended. Pumulo has alleged that on the 30th of May 2023, Shezi engaged in a physical confrontation with his wife.
Tikufuna by 15 hours. Na muyanga na tino 15 hours ye mukamba maybe sinza kwanisa cause ni images ko one person. Sembe munani uzira to yesterday. Sembero semena ninga kambati ninga kwanisa tiyai. Ngati siuza bwera. Tikakongera kushutira mushoku mwana ndemwe namuyangira na tawa no problem nizabwera ati ubwere maningi tikufuna no matter what
mayonenzo enda wa mutanda nibyaza bya muntu anitana ati we imilira hapo na bwana imilira nibyaza bya muntu anifuza ati sindiwe mkazi wa Pumulo na bwana mbati ndine nichani na chita chani ati uzibatu amenyewe nangai nina chita chani ati nifunisa maningi ndani mwamuna wako nikampeza.
The couple, who are now living in fear due to the continued threat, allege that Shezi has on several occasions claimed to be a police officer operating at Kanyama police station when in fact not.
Pemba koi ni pemba we mundu muntanise kumwemuza ntanisa kuti mukwile tende tikamisanire kusokolo because ine sinizi wa maganzo yake nivera chema rumazi ya kuti akanipeza inapa
mbaya nayo pamozi ngakupeza che nakupasa oni nayo ngakupeza any day any time nayo uzapata.
The families of the couple are concerned with their safety.
Kusatina bwera maro kupeza munyamata palibe nichanje chitika kuyenda kuli bamukazi nabo bamukazi bakala tiende kuli wachimuna nayo bachimuna babisa mabisana manje kai tipempa ko chokutitandizira ko mnyamata ngati aonekere uyo tinga yamikiri at least ngati nishuti kambile pamozi chapeti veve vichitikana vichanidhani ambo sultana vikuma kuti nizamupa mchitachani maro namazo Pumulo bakamupaya ndifeti zavutikira munagana
kwa mine unyamata because vikamuchitika chitika vili vonze pani Pumulo
By broadcast time, Mr. Shezi's phone went unanswered. Meanwhile, Concerned Citizens for Justice and Human Rights, a community human rights-based organization where the couple went to seek assistance, has since advised the couple to seek for services of the police.
We demand the arrest of the particular person because all our officers are on the instruction that if they hear anyone using our name, intimidating people, the issue of intimidating people is a long-gone issue. This time around, we want each and every person his right to be.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
New Congress Party leader Peter Chanda has challenged the government to explain how it awarded the contract for the construction of roads in New Kasama, including the road which passes through Community House, without advertising for a tender. Speaking when he toured the roads Wednesday, 31st May 2023, Mr. Chanda says roads could not have been constructed using constituency development funds and has wondered who is the constructor. Mr. Chanda has reminded the United Party for National Development UPND that while in opposition, it promised the people of Zambia of transparency and accountability, thus questioning the alleged illegality. He has since challenged government through the Road Development Agency RDA to disclose when an advert for the construction of the said road was issued and how much is being spent on the roads. More in this report.
These are newly constructed roads in part of Lusaka's Chalala area and in New Kasama near the community house of Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema. For many years, these roads remained dilapidated but have seen a facelift following the election of the United Party for National Development UPND into office. However, new Congress Party leader Peter Chanda, who toured the roads Wednesday morning, has expressed disappointment at the fact that the Road Development Agency has never advertised a tender for the said roads and has wondered why this is the case. According to Mr. Chanda, the sum of constructing these roads is unknown, while the contractor who has been engaged is equally not known, which he says is tantamount to corruption, which the UPND administration has time and again condemned.
The road that has been done surrounding the area that surrounds Community House, when was the tender advertised? When did the addendum come out from our Road Development Agency? Lusaka City Council, when were the plans done to do this road up to that standard, where it is a standard of a highway road? My call to Lusaka City Council is that all these things that are happening now, somebody will be answerable for abuse of office. New Dawn administration, you promise a transparent government. We want to hear answers. Is this road done using Constituency Development Fund or what?
Additionally, this war fence and part of the property belonging to a well-known businessman and former associate of the previous head of state has been earmarked for demolition to pave way for the construction of the road. Mr. Chanda is however disappointed that the contractor has left land marked for the road and has only targeted a property belonging to another person which illegally acquired.
There are threats to demolish an offense of a citizen who has owned the land for many years, and today they are alleging to say it is on the road side. My call to President Hakainde Hichilema, you promised the Zambian people that you run a transparent government. Now, this road that has been done here, when was it advertised? When were people called to bid for it? Who are the contractors for this road? Who are the engineers for this road? When was the plan made to have this road upgraded? We have seen from the entire area, coming from Charara area up to this to Lake Road.
Some of the contractors who were on the site vanished upon seeing cameras. Meanwhile, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, when contacted, says the tender for the project was advertised and has asked those doubting to visit the offices to get more information.
I think that is malicious and that is not true, because everything we do at the ministry is done within the provisions of the law and is guided by the law. And if there are any stakeholders that would like to know how much has been spent or is being spent, how much we are being charged per kilometer for the Lusaka roads, such stakeholders are free to come to the office and we will be able to avail to them the information that they need as opposed to them making allegations that we do not follow the tender procedure and that the constructors are not wrong. I think that is not how we should proceed.
Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
And in court news, the Lusaka High Court has declared 22-year-old James Walia, one of the alleged abductors of Pamela Chisomba, and 12 others physically fit to be prosecuted. The court's ruling follows a medical report which has indicated that the accused's spine condition has significantly improved. Walia sustained a spine or cord injury when he allegedly attempted to escape from Mwembeshi Maximum Correctional Facility in February 2023. He is jointly charged with Matthew Sikaonga with 54 counts of rape, assault, and theft.
After several medical tests, 22-year-old James Walia, one of the alleged kidnappers of 13 women, has been declared physically fit to stand trial. According to the latest medical report, conducted on the 29th of May 2023 at the University Teaching Hospital, Walia's spinal condition has remarkably improved. The medical report has further disclosed that the accused must avoid activities which might require to lift heavy things or bending jobs. Based on this information, the Lusaka High Court has ruled that the state can proceed to prosecute the matter, hence adjourning the case to the 25th of June 2023 for his plea. In April, his defense counsel had insisted that his current medical condition does not allow him to sit through a court session, and here the prosecution team present evidence against him and his co-accused Matthew Sikaonga. This led the court to order that the accused be physically examined before he can proceed to take his plea. It was reviewed before the court that Walia sustained a spinal cord injury when he allegedly attempted to escape from Mwembeshi Maximum Correctional Facility in February 2023. Walia and Sikaonga, both aged 22, are charged with 54 counts in relation to kidnapping of 13 women, among them mobile booth operators, medical student in 2022. The duo allegedly kept the 13 women at a house in Lusaka's Chalala area where they subjected them to torture and rape. The duo is also accused of stealing from their victims. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Patriotic Front supporter Maxwell Chongo has been acquitted by the Lusaka Magistrate Court from assault charges. Delivering a ruling on the case or no case to answer, the court found that there is no substantive case against Mr. Chongo to be placed on defense. In this case, Mr. Chongo was accused of unlawful wounding Mr. Innocent Nyambe and Richard Sinonge by inflicting a deep cut on his left ankle using a machete on the 4th of March 2017. Meanwhile, speaking shortly after his court appearance, Mr. Chongo thanked the court for what he referred to as a just ruling.
The picture that was portrayed out there about the name Maxwell Chongo is not the actual person that you would meet in person. And I'm so glad the judiciary has proved to me that it has still remained as an organ that we can run to. And I wish they can continue on the same trajectory on other cases that involve other people. I'm sorry I would have said much, but wow, I'm just overwhelmed with joy, I really, personally, I was, it's not easy where you start telling your wife to say, I might go for 2 years or 3 years, but I'll still come back. And, I was having those sleepless nights preparing myself for the toughest situation. And coming here to be told that you've been acquitted at this level, I want to thank God and I want to thank my lawyers, Mr. Jonas Zimba, Francis Daka, from Makebi Zulu and advocates. I also want to thank my wife that has been supporting me. She's been there for me throughout all these problems. And I really want to thank all the people out there, particularly people from my neighborhood in Avondale. They've been very supportive. And the only appeal I have to these law enforcement agencies is that let us not rush bringing cases to court without having proper evidence, because you are making the judiciary look like they're biased when they're not. You are making the judiciary look like they're protecting certain individuals when they're not. Honestly speaking, if you were to have a look at the evidence that was brought before court, you'd be very shocked. And you would even wonder why a person would call themselves an investigative officer with such evidence. Perhaps the government should introduce some laws or policies which will make those officers in charge of the investigations, if they use emotions and the government loses the case, then they should forfeit their benefits.
And still in court news, Opposition Patriotic Front PF acting President Given Lubinda has urged law enforcement agencies to avoid effecting arrests on individuals if they are not ready to prosecute cases. Speaking at the Lusaka Magistrate Court, Mr. Lubinda wondered why his charge sheet in relation to a case he is accused of failing to appear before the parliamentary committee was not before court despite being informed to appear on Wednesday. He charges that the state is making him have unnecessary costs as he is forced to pay his lawyers every time he makes his appearances.
I want to appeal to the police. Please, do not arrest people before you're ready to prosecute. Because now you're making me incur unnecessary costs. When my defense counsel come to court, it's not for free. I have to pay them. And today, I might have been able to do something else, but because you wanted me to come to court, I came to court and wasted my time. You're wasting public resources. I am a citizen of Zambia, and if I don't work to produce, the GDP of the country is affected. Don't harass us in the manner that you're doing. Huh? And this brings me to the issue of Zumani and a case of terrorism. You know, you arrest people and you take them into detention. 48 hours after they have been arrested, you are still not ready to take them to court. And you also arrest them on cases that you yourselves claim are non-bailable. That is not fair. If you're going to arrest a person on a non-bailable offense, make sure that you are ready with the indictment. Make sure that within 48 hours that person is presented to court. You should not take advantage of your positions and just arrest people and detain people and start framing charges after you've arrested them. That is not fair. So I want to call upon the police to be ready to bring all these matters before the courts of law.
And in other news, Green Economy and Environment Minister Collins Nzovu says in an effort to achieve the aspiration of a green economy and sustainable development, the ministry has embarked on a process of reviewing the legal framework, which includes, among others, policies, acts and strategies. And Mr. Nzovu has disclosed that they will revise Extended Producer Responsibility Regulation, EPR, to make it more responsive in compelling plastic producers to take responsibility for their waste. Speaking during the weekly media briefing hosted by the Ministry of Information and Media, Mr. Nzovu says addressing plastic pollution requires concerted efforts.
Wednesday, 31st May 2023, Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Collins Nzovu, was in focus for the weekly press conference at the Ministry of Information and Media. Mr. Nzovu points out that in an effort to achieve the aspiration of the green economy and sustainable development, they have embarked on a robust process of reviewing the legal framework, which includes, among others, policies, acts and strategies. And during the press conference, the minister could however not state government's stance on the controversial subject of allowing mining activities in the lower Zambezi.
This matter, as we speak right now, is currently with the Zambia Environmental Management Authority. I can only ask for your patience. I know you want to hear a lot of things, but I can only ask for your patience because ZEMA, by the way, ZEMA did not change its position. ZEMA was ordered by the court to issue a decision letter. And anything beyond any news on lower Zambezi can only legally come through ZEMA. So I can only ask for your patience and would request that ZEMA updates the nation as quickly as possible on this matter. So I can only ask for your patience.
And the minister has also acknowledged that plastic pollution is a big problem that needs urgent attention and that the Extended Producer Responsibility Regulation will be revised to make it more responsive towards addressing the plastic problem.
What was lacking before was ensuring that the rule of law is black. The rule of law is not just in arresting criminals, but in the environmental laws. We believe that we should be able to make progress even under the existing legislation. But to give you comfort that we are going to revise these pieces of legislation to ensure that the producer themselves take responsibility. To also ensure that the users, us, the plastics are thrown by us. And that's why I emphasized so much more on the advocacy and communication strategy. How do we carry our people along? Our people, ourselves, we are responsible for all these plastics we throw.
And the minister says carbon tax will be better administered and incorporated in the climate change bill, which is being fine-tuned and pending enactment.
Operationalized, for example, the Forest Development Fund. We need this funding to speak to specific challenges. So I would agree with you that it's one of the issues we are pursuing, that if there's carbon tax being paid, can it speak directly to us reducing emissions? How do we develop our low carbon economy with the relevant funding from that particular sector? All of this we are doing.
One can only hope that these issues will be resolved in order to safeguard the environment and enhance the implementation of climate change adaptation measures. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Meanwhile, Green Economy and Environment Minister Collins Nzovu later in the day held another press conference where he reviewed measures undertaken by the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, regarding the restriction of mining activities in the lower Zambezi following a breach of the license agreement. Among other sanctions, Mwembeshi Resources Limited has been ordered to stop developing the area and disturbing the environment. I apologize for not having audio on that clip. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Darren Kombo, has directed all illegal vendors in the sale of alcohol in bus stations and markets to stop doing so within 7 days or risk prosecution. Mr. Kombo says this is part of the efforts to curb the escalating consumption of illicit alcohol among youths in the country. He also directed all liquor committees countrywide to cancel all liquor licenses for home-based alcohol operators, citing the need to protect the young people in the country. Mr. Nkombo says his ministry will heighten all the laws aimed at ensuring sanity is restored in the sale of beer. The minister has also committed to the table before cabinet submissions by various stakeholders to legalize the sale of the local brew, Kachasu. Some Lusaka motorists have appealed to the government to curb the trend by oil marketing companies of holding on to fuel when the fuel monthly review of pump prices is approaching. The drivers have called for concrete measures to curb the vice. Meanwhile, Oil Marketing Companies Association of Zambia, OMCA's president, Dr. Kafula Mubanga, says the Energy Regulations Board, ERB, must criminalize the act. Dr. Mubanga acknowledges that some oil marketing organizations tend to hold on to products for price evaluations in order to gain from a potential fuel price hike, which he says is unfortunate. More in the following report.
As the monthly review of the fuel pump price by the Energy Regulation Board is here to stay, some motorists in Lusaka are calling on government to help curb the trend by some oil marketing companies that hold on to their products when the monthly review draws near. They say the trend has affected the operations of their businesses.
ife tikaziwa tumanje month-end ili pafupi kusira then bantu bambiri bafola nde pale tukumakala kuti ma businesses tumapanga kuti ndalama pano manje zadaba tuma filling station mulibe fuel so tikangwa ngene kusebenza government itela ngani lepo kuma fuel at least ma filling station izinkhala mo tripe ndrama but fuel ilipo kuma
vamene government funa kuchita afuko kupanga follow-ups ma filling stations vamvishitika ma filling station ija vakuti vakaziwa kuti month-end yafika vabisa stocks yacho so that palangane price increase kuti ili bwanji but we are moving from point A to point B fuel so pays because of amene behavior so tipempa government basitobwani paseko baje amene masenzana bemva jamangara mswidi bambo checking once filling station got to pay that irangiza chilibe fuel stock na embe.
Meanwhile, Oil Marketing Companies Association of Zambia, OMICA's president, Dr. Kafula Mubanga, says the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, needs to be on its feet and enforce the law. Dr. Mubanga proposes that ERB makes it a crime for any oil marketing company to run out of fuel within days of price adjustment.
But I think that this is purely the job of ERB to be able to come up with a policy that protects the consumers from this sort of abuse, because it is unnecessary, because the stock that you hold up or you buy within a particular timeline is intended to supply the market up to the change, the review of the prices that will occur at that particular time. Not necessarily that the OMCs will take advantage of these change of price by withholding stock. So if government puts up certain regulatory framework, which we think that this framework is already in place, but I think it's about an issue of reinforcing these things, because every license stipulates on how an OMC must be able to conduct.
And the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, has revised downwards the pump price for petrol, diesel and kerosene for the month of June 2023. ERB chairperson Reynolds Bower says the pump price reduction is as a result of a decline of prices on the international market.
Has adjusted downwards the pump price of petrol, diesel and kerosene. Petrol has been reduced by 3 kwacha 14 ingwe per litre, diesel by 2 kwacha 77 ingwe per litre, and kerosene by 73 ingwe per litre. Further, the ERB has also adjusted downwards the retail or posted airfield price of Jet A1 at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport and other low. The factors that caused the decline of oil prices include the concerns about a looming recession that affected the oil and gas market, fear of a banking meltdown following the collapse of some Western banks.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
This is Camnet Television Main News. We'll take our first commercial break. Join us for more news after the break.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana. Banga kubunkireni dad.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
Salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ have come. You lift one hand and I'll lift the other hand, because our man of God in a surrendered position is more dangerous than an entire army. in the name of the Lord Jesus. Today, God will remove every form of iniquity, every ounce of iniquity that has been around you. Then I said, behold, I have come to do your will, oh God, to fulfill what is written of me. So that I can understand that when Mary is in that crowd, part of her is crying for them to choose Jesus over Barabbas. But she doesn't understand the mystery of redemption. That Jesus did not come to the world to die a normal death, because a normal death does not do anything for you and I. Your great and mighty power, the heavens declare. Your great and mighty power, you're greater than the greatest, you're mightier than the mightiest, you're stronger than the strongest, better than the best.
We continue with the news. The Center for Primary Care Research in Zambia is saddened that over 15,000 hectares of fertile land are being wasted for the growing of tobacco, a crop that kills 7,000 people every year. Addressing the press in Lusaka Wednesday, organization senior researcher Richard Zulu says tobacco growing undermines food security issues the country may be facing because scarce arable land is not being used to grow the much-needed food crop. Mr. Zulu says a survey conducted on 500 small-scale tobacco farmers showed that growing tobacco is far worse than growing any other crop, as most farmers who have signed contracts with leaf-buying companies to cultivate tobacco are operating at a loss. More in this report.
Growing tobacco is actually far worse than agricultural livelihoods. The results of our research suggest that particularly the tobacco farmers who have signed contracts with leaf-buying companies to cultivate tobacco leaf are typically operating at a net loss when the principal inputs which they borrow from their contracts are subtracted from the sales of their tobacco leaf. The farmers usually end up in debt to the leaf-buying company, compelling them to grow tobacco again the following season, precipitating or continuing a long and generally long economic cycle for these small-scale farming households. Most tobacco farmers would be better off putting their very hard work into other economic pursuits. We appeal to the head of state, His Excellency, President Hakainde Hichilema, to help expedite the passage of the Tobacco Control Bill to protect the people of Zambia from the harms of tobacco use. We need food, not tobacco. Grow food, not tobacco.
So the over 7,142 cases are those deaths that are recorded annually, yearly. And to be precise, these deaths are those tobacco-related illnesses. We're talking about the TB, we're talking about the cancer of the lungs.
Government has observed that the pensions and insurance industry has remained stable over the years due to efficient supervision by the Pensions and Insurance Authority. Ministry of Finance Permanent Secretary, Economic Management and Finance says the insurance industry growth rate is attributed to increased fire, life and health insurance uptake following the expansion of the construction industry and increased uptake of insurance services following the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Dennis Chisenga has since held Best Life Insurance for commencing operations in Zambia, describing the development as a sign of renewed investor confidence in the Zambian economy. Meanwhile, Best Life Insurance Chief Executive Officer Christabel Michel says the firm will provide an unmatched commitment to meeting customers' needs. And Pensions and Insurance Authority Registrar Namakau Ntini says the insurance sector will soon have long-awaited micro-insurance regulations.
On 6 December 2022, I signed the commencement order to operationalize the Insurance Act number 38 of 2021. The new regulatory framework is expected to unlock the potential of the sector and thus this development will also increase the public confidence among the players. On our part, as government and the New Dawn administration in particular, we will continue to provide support to the insurance industry, and our doors remain open for consultation and exchange of ideas.
We actively work with the Insurance Association of Zambia. Unfortunately, the ED is not here with us. He had a court area, he's got a prior commitment, but we will work with the Insurance Association. They are represented here through their consumer education manager. We work closely with you to ensure that consumer education programs are carried out so that we help sensitize people on the importance of insurance. Zambia has a low insurance penetration ratio, meaning that there is a lot of potential for growth in the insurance industry. And at Best Life, we believe that this opportunity then gives us room for us to grow and to showcase our innovative products.
The intrinsic value of insurance is at claim stage. Because if my claim is not going to be settled in time or settled at all, why would I take out insurance? And so the reason why people take out insurance is because they expect to be paid. But unfortunately, we've had bad experiences in the market where people have taken even 2 months to settle a funeral policy. Who is going to keep a body for 2 months awaiting burial? So these are the realities, and this is a narrative that we are challenging Best Life to actually change.
Government has developed the National Civil Aviation Strategy in order to provide strategic direction in achieving sustainable growth in the sector. Speaking during the launch of the Aviation Strategy, Transport and Logistics Minister Frank Tayali says government acknowledges the role that the aviation sector plays in Zambia's economic development. He adds that the sector has the potential to significantly contribute towards the country's gross domestic product, GDP. Meanwhile, European Union Deputy Ambassador Bruno Hanses says the sector has the potential to make Zambia a better country by improving its connectivity in the region and beyond.
The improvement and changes that Zambia is making to establish itself as a global business hub that links Southern Africa to the world has attracted the aviation industry. Air transport has become a catalyst for economic development and a vital engine of global socio-economic growth. It opens and connects markets, facilitates trades, enables industry to link into global supply chains. In efforts to improve and meet the challenges of a rapidly growing aviation sector in the Zambian economy, an aviation strategy with a 5-year implementation from a period of 2022 to 2026 has been launched.
Support from the European Union under the Aviation Support Sector Support Program 2. I take note of this milestone and other achievements under this program. I therefore wish to take this opportunity to congratulate the Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics, his officials and the project team for this commendable achievement, and to wish them a smooth and successful implementation of the strategy for the benefit of the country.
The plan provides a framework to guide efforts of all stakeholders in the implementation of the aviation strategy as the country makes progress toward transforming itself into a regional aviation hub as adopted in the 8th National Development Plan. The European Union says the sector has a potential to make Zambia a better country by improving its connectivity within the region and the rest of the world and attracting business.
As soon as possible, like the financial and institutional capacity challenges that are hampering the development of the sector. It is in fact urgent to bring the policy and regulatory framework in line with the sector's international standards. This will really contribute to make the aviation sector more resilient.
The government says it attaches great importance to the role that aviation plays to the overall economic development of Zambia and the continent at large.
Identified aviation as one of the key sectors to facilitate economic diversification, and as such, the sector has been prioritized for development. As the UPND government, we believe that Zambia's aviation sector has potential to significantly contribute towards the country's gross domestic product, GDP. Zambia, by its geographical location, is a natural hub and a connecting point for global business for countries in the sub-region. However, we have noted with concern that the Zambian aviation sector faces many challenges which we must overcome to make the sector grow.
Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
We'll take our second and final break. Join us for international sports news after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
Salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ have come. You lift one hand and I'll lift the other hand, because our man of God in a surrendered position is more dangerous than an entire army. In the name of the Lord Jesus, today God will remove every form of iniquity, every ounce of iniquity that has been around you. Then I said, behold, I have come to do your will, O God, to fulfill what is written of me. So that I can understand that when Mary is in that crowd, part of her is crying for them to choose Jesus over Barabbas. But she doesn't understand the mystery of redemption. That Jesus did not come to the world to die a normal death, because a normal death does not do anything for you and I. Your great and mighty power, the heavens declare. Your great and mighty power, you're greater than the greatest, you're mightier than the mightiest, you're stronger than the strongest, better than the best.
Welcome back. And now in international news, Kenyan police were involved in the killing of 12 people, including 2 children, during violent opposition demonstrations in March, 2 rights groups said on Wednesday, denouncing a lack of accountability. Extrajudicial killings are rife in Kenya and justice is rare, with few examples of police being held to account. Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International said they documented 12 deaths during 3 days of anti-government protests called by veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga over a cost of living crisis and last year's disputed election. 2 children, including a 4-month-old baby, also died from health complications after police fired tear gas into residential homes in Kibera, a densely packed slum in Nairobi, the NGOs added. According to government figures, 3 people died during the march unrest, including a policeman. Kenya's police force is often accused by rights groups of using excessive
in March. And up until today, we've not heard about any prosecutions or any, we've heard about investigations, but we're yet to see the conclusion of those investigations. We have seen political interference and leading to stalled reforms. And we have seen that the fact that the National Police Service, as well as the Independent Oversight Authority, the fact that they don't have an independent budget, has also contributed to the lack of fundamental reforms that are needed to change this very dark and grim picture that the police have painted when they are responding to peaceful protest and other issues.
Kenya's police
responding to peaceful protest and other issues.
Kenya's police force is often accused by right groups of using excessive force and carrying out unlawful killings, especially in poor neighborhoods.
According to government figures, 3 people died during the march and arrest, including a policeman.
Video footage published by Sudan's armed forces Tuesday showed soldiers cheering army leader Abdel Fattah al-Burhan as he visited an unidentified position in Khartoum. Burhan said that the army was hesitant to use maximum force for fear of destroying the country, but warned that his side would resort to heavier fighting if the rapid support forces continued resisting. The army has used its air advantage to slow down the rebels, with fighter jets bombing rebel positions in Khartoum and Omdurman. Some of them have hit people's homes and other civilian installations. The country descended into chaos in mid-April after a months-long power struggle, pitting 2 army generals, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his deputy, Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo.
A Sudanese diplomatic source announced on Wednesday that the army had suspended talks with rival paramilitary force, RSF, over a ceasefire and access to aid. Since April 15th, that fighting has erupted in Sudan between government forces and paramilitary group Rapid Support Forces, RSF. Speaking in Saudi Arabia, where talks are taking place, a government official accused the paramilitary forces of repeated violations of previous ceasefires. Despite the extension of a previous ceasefire, fighting resumed on Tuesday in the capital Khartoum and in the Darfur region. In the meantime, the African Union's Peace and Security Council is meeting at the headquarters in Addis Ababa to discuss the next steps regarding the situation in Sudan.
It's now time for sports news. Manchester United forward Anthony Martial will miss Saturday's FA Cup final against Manchester City with a hamstring injury. The France international sustained the injury in Sunday's 2-1 win against Fulham at Old Trafford. Tests revealed the 27-year-old had suffered a muscle tear, the club confirmed on Tuesday. Victory for United on Saturday would secure a domestic double for the club, having won the League Cup in February. A win would also deny their City rivals' bid to match the treble won by Sir Alex Ferguson's United in 1999, with Premier League champion City also playing in next month's Champions League final. In an injury-hit campaign, Martial scored 6 goals and made 2 assists in 21 Premier League matches this season. United also had injury concerns over winger Anthony after he was taken off on a stretcher in tears in the 4-1 win over Chelsea. However, manager Erik ten Hag said on Sunday that the 23-year-old Brazilian will probably recover from his ankle injury in time for Saturday's final. To end Camnet television news, the headlines once again. Council workers go on strike demanding unpaid salaries. ZEMA issues restriction orders on mining activities in the lower Zambezi. Government challenged to account for construction works at President Hakainde Hichilema's residence. In international news, Kenyan police involved in the killing of 12 people, according to Amnesty International. And in sports news, Manchester United forward to miss FA Cup final against Manchester City. The Camnet verse of the day is coming from Luke 6, verse 30. Give to everyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Thank you for watching Camnet Television News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.